Today I wanted to sit down and share how my body has been changing and what I've been doing differently. So let's take it back to a few months ago. It'll be like earlier on this year. I kind of got myself into a place where I felt like I'd hit a plateau. Obviously I've been training for a long time now and I had moved away. I'd gone through loads of life transitions, pivots, things not going to plan, you know how life gets. And I just felt as though my fitness journey just hadn't taken top of the priority list, which is completely normal. And I really want to mention how I do feel like on our fitness journeys, it can go like this a lot of the time. And that's all part of it. That is the fun of it. That's where we learn from. I'd really hit a bit of a wall, I felt like, and I hadn't been tracking my macros for months. I was mainly intuitively eating, which was fine, absolutely great. I like to do a mix of both anyway, but I thought, right, I'm gonna be in a calorie deficit. So this was June, July time, where I was feeling super inflamed. That is the only way to describe it. I felt super swollen and I'd put on quite a bit of body fat, which was really random because I just couldn't work out. I was thinking, where has this accumulated from? I hadn't felt like I'd made any massive changes. So I was thinking, what's going on here? Obviously I wasn't tracking, like I say, but I hadn't changed masses and I didn't feel like I was eating much more than normal. So I was just like, what's going on? So I increased my workout like intensity, upped my steps a bit. I hadn't really changed my nutrition, but I was probably eating more fats, a lot more fats than usual, like cheeses and this like random sauces and things like with my meals. So like I was still having my main like I normally make now, and Mason was following a bit more like keto diet. So if he'd make a meal, I would be eating the same as him. So I'd be putting more on my plate, whereas I've quickly realised I am such a carb gal, like I can't live without carbs. So I thought I was in a calorie deficit. I was very stressed. I'd increased my workout intensity and I was just doing too much in hindsight, and I should have just looked at my nutrition to begin with. And that is something I'd always recommend, because you can be in the gym for 2 or 3 hours, but it's the other 21, 22 hours, like what you're putting into your body, that is going to make the most difference. So what I have ended up doing is some body recomp, and then I wanted to share how I have done that and what has worked really well for me. So the first thing is nutrition. I have made sure I've increased my protein, so aiming for between 0.8 to 1 grams of protein per pound of body weight. That is the most important thing when it comes to your nutrition, making sure you're getting enough protein. And it's so easy not to be hitting your protein targets. That is the one macronutrient that I find the most, that I have to be the most conscious with and make sure I make an effort. So I've been back tracking my macros, which has helped me so much. Every single time that I do go into like a tracking phase, it is just the most educational thing. And as someone who has tracked for years, and I could pretty much eyeball a plate and tell you what's in it, it's crazy like how skew with you can be. Having protein with every meal and making sure I've got things at hand in the fridge. So what I've been really liking at the moment is having like boiled eggs, and then I'll have them as like egg whites or whatever just to snack on during the day, or a full boiled egg. Having lots of lean meat, so lots of chicken breast, protein bars. I'm really liking shakes at the moment, and I'll usually pretty much always have a protein shake before I go to bed, say, if I feel like I need to bump up my protein intake. So there are a few ways that you can do that. For me, I find the easiest is my carbs. I find that so easy to get. I could just live off carbs, to be honest, but I definitely don't feel the most energized as when I have increased my protein intake. And the second change I've made is I've lowered my amount of cardio that I'm doing, and things like HIIT, I'm not doing that more than like 2 times a week, because Jesus Christ, my appetite, when I do HIIT in particular, my appetite just goes skyrocket. I can't even explain. I can just eat and eat and eat. I find I'm just absolutely starving when I do a lot more HIIT. This is what I mean, how we are all quite different. This won't be the same for everyone, but this is the one thing that has made the most difference. So for me personally, what my body loves is lots of weight training and then LISS Cardio. So things like walking. yoga, just more like low intensity stuff, I find I just feel a lot more balanced and energized, because if I'm doing really intense like HIIT every single day, throughout the day I could just fall asleep at my laptop and I just don't have enough energy to get through my days. So that has been a massive shift. And if you're feeling like you're burning the candle at both ends, you know, say if you're doing these crazy intense HIIT workouts, then you're running on the treadmill for half an hour and then you get to your work desk and you're like a shell of yourself, you're probably doing too much, sis. So it's worth stripping that back. Less is often more when it does come to training. If you're just being more conscious with your training, not doing like 10 plus exercises and just focusing on quality over quantity, slowing down your reps, really focusing on that time under tension, you will notice the biggest difference. And it's something we can all make the mistake of when we're just running around like trying to get as much done and be as efficient as possible with our time. The third way that's really helped me change my body is tracking my macros. Now, I do want to mention this is not for everyone. There's so many ways that you can, you know, look at your nutrition. You could take a journal intuitively. It is just about finding what works for you. I found that the best way to make sure I'm fueling my body with the right foods. That's been a consistent theme in my life. Whenever I've tried to follow, say, what Mason's doing, like when I've tried, he does keto quite a lot of the time. I've tried that a bit and it just is not for me. I need my oats, I need my bread, and that is that. Fourth way that has been changing my body is following a program with linear progression. So focusing on your compounds, so your squat, hip thrust, deadlift. These recruit the most muscle groups and get you the most bang for your buck in comparison to, say, like just doing isolation work or isolation exercises, and following a program that progressively overloads. So each week or each month, you're progressively increasing either the weight, your reps, and just working on other like variables like your time under tension, and not flipping between random workouts. I think it's so important to stick to the basics, and there's no denying like the basics is what work the best. Sticking at a program for a minimum like 6 to 8 weeks. The fifth way that's been changing my body is making sure I'm getting enough sleep. I can't even stress this enough, because stress and sleep, oh my God, they're just the key components. If you're trying to achieve any fitness goal whatsoever, you really need to be looking at your sleep and stress levels. Without the sleep, your appetite is going to be most likely skew with, going to give your body a chance to recover from your workouts and, you know, get the most out of your sessions. So sleep is so important. You need to give your muscles a chance to repair, rebuild, come back stronger the next day. And I can't tell you how different I feel just having a sleep routine, having an actual schedule. Like, I've given myself a bedtime because I work for myself, and I've always found I've struggled with boundaries with myself. Like, I can just keep working and working into the evening, and then I burn myself out, and it just throws my routine out of whack, and then I don't have a consistent schedule. It throws my training, my eating out the window. Like, then you end up eating 10 minutes before you go into sleep, then you have a weird night's sleep. So it all just goes hand in hand, and I really wish that, I feel like I need to print this off and stick it all over my wall or something, because it's important to have those boundaries with yourself and remember how important sleep is and how your sleep and nutrition affects your hormones, and you want to keep yourself as balanced as possible to, you know, feel your best self, as well as that affects your mental health and everything. I could do a whole nother video on that. The final change that I wanted to mention that I feel like you might find useful is looking at different progress indicators. So not necessarily always the scales. I think when it comes to body recomposition, you might not always lose weight. In fact, sometimes you can even gain weight with body recomp, even though it's not actual weight. Muscle weighs more than fat because of the density of muscle. And this is why it's important to look at other ways at how your clothes fit on you, how you feel, like your energy levels. Progress pictures are probably my favorite variable. I've not really been into, is it like calipers? I don't think I've ever actually tried a caliper. I don't know what my body fat percentage is, but just finding other ways, because the scales can be so up and down, although they are an amazing tool. I'll do a check-in once a week and just use scales that way. But yeah, I just wanted to share some of the ways that I've been changing my body, and these have just been helping me feel my absolute best self. So I wanted to share them with you guys. And if you didn't already know, Live and Lift, my app, went live last week. If you wanted to check that out and try a free 7-day trial, I have lots of different programs on the app, and there's so much exciting stuff coming soon that will be added on there. But yeah, I'd love to stick around by hitting subscribe and making sure you've liked this video. It really helps and supports my channel. And yeah, let me know what you'd like to see next, if there's anything else you want me to cover. I love doing the sit down style kind of videos, and I'll see you guys in the next video.